Big Brother Canada 4 has come to a close, which means it's time for another edition of the reality TV RHAPpy Hour. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan Parhar, and I'm with you once again to break down the latest episode of Big Brother Canada 4. And with me today is a very special guest. We finally got him on a Google Hangout. It was a bit of a struggle, but we got it. He's in his media room. He's on his phone. He's looking good. He's insane, dude.
What?
It's Paul Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the original Godfather. I don't know what Godfrey's talking about. I'm the original Godfather. You know, I'm the one that called him into the room to have those conversations. I'm the one that got that going. It's all good. And, you know, I'm the only one of the three that knows exactly how not to play the game. So let's get this show on the road. I'm happy to be here, Jordan. Always a big fan of the Big Brother clan and the alumni. Got to hang out with the leader tonight and some of the crew, so that was awesome, buddy. So good to be on the show. Thanks,
Paul. It's a pleasure. Wait, Paul, who's the leader of the clan, Paul?
Oh, see, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'd like to think that I'm the grandpapa, but I don't know, man. I think Deli had a pretty good word in there. He gave me a hard time, and then, you know, we got to give Kyle the props, you know, serving in the Army. What can I say? So it's all good. It's all good. I think it's the Three Stooges, you know. I think we all kind of bounced off each other and had some fun with it and entertained Canada at the same time. So it's all good.
Oh, man. Started at the bottom, still at the bottom. I don't know if anyone's seen that GIF on the internet of Paul and his crew, but definitely look it up because it's amazing. Also joining us tonight is one of our live feed correspondents who is always here but the drop of a hat. He's always filled with great information, and although he's a little frustrated tonight with how things have been going on the show, he's a trooper and he's here. It's Alex Kidwell, ladies and gentlemen. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Jordan, but you know, we're a group. I don't know why you're always singling out me and Paul and Taryn and Brent and Rob probably and Stephen Fishback, and I don't know, you can single out multiple people, right? That's a thing according to Jared.
According to Jared, that is a thing. All right, so
pluralize Lone Rangers.
Apparently, I don't know. Okay, guys, let's set things up for you. So we are live on robiswebsite.com. We're on a Google Hangout tonight. So if you have a question for us, please tweet us. Use the hashtag RHAPpy Hour. I'm at Jordan Parhar on Twitter. You can also leave a comment on the YouTube video as well. That's the best way to get your questions in to the show. We'll get into those as we progress with things. Okay, guys, let's talk about this. Paul, top story tonight. So Mitch and Joel are on the block, and Jared has the chance to use the power of veto. But before he uses that veto, Paul, Mitch brings out this massive speech, just like saying that him and Kelsey and Raul are a cancer in the house. It's very similar to what we kind of saw from Godfrey last season. Paul, what did you think of this speech from Mitch? Oh no. Did Paul freeze? I think Paul froze. Alex, you're still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
that's,
so Alex,
that's a real
Alex,
shame.
It's a real shame. PJ has frozen. Oh no, PJ is frozen. I'll pull up the camera here so you guys can see the three little feeds. Paul he's stuck, so hopefully Paul can come back. So Paul is going to bounce out. He's going to come right back in here. So Alex, can't believe this. We finally got Paul and we lost him. Oh my gosh, most anticipated show for me ever.
The internet is a cruel mistress, Jordan.
It really is. But you know what? We got him for a bit. So if that's all we get of Paul, then so be it. Alex, what did you think of this move by Mitch? Really going all out, very Godfrey Manguiza-esque with this speech.
Yeah, you went full Manguiza, right? Yeah, I mean, it's the direction I think Mitch needed to go at that point. You know, I like the approach he took. You know, fundamentally, you know, he felt like the easiest approach was to get Raul to change his mind and thereby hopefully get Jared to use the veto on him. When it became clear, and it was abundantly clear, that that would not happen, then he exercised the next move, which is if I can't be in with the power group, then I need to be seen as the clear enemy of the power group. I need to do what Godfrey did, which is essentially say, Zach, it's you I'm coming after, and I want your blood on these hands. And in so doing, signal to everyone overtly in front of the entire house in a way that you can't ever take it back, that you're the guy that's going to go after the other side so that they don't have to, which gives you influence. It gives you power because people want to keep you around.
For sure. And I did like this by Mitch, and, you know, looking back and how things turned out for me. And I talked about this with Ika on Sunday. It always is way better to go out swinging than it is to just stay there and not do anything. But based on the edit tonight, from what we saw, Alex, I mean, it seemed like there was just a lack of communication between Jared and Raul, because Jared was saying that, well, he's saying, you know, he wanted to use the veto because he wanted to go after the brothers and make a big move. But emotionally, Raul was set on getting rid of Mitch. But from Raul's perspective, at least from what we saw on the edited television show tonight, it seemed as if, you know, this was really eating away at Raul by putting up Mitch on the block. But for Raul, he was thinking, oh, this is strategic. This is what my alliance wants me to do. So, Alex, do you think that if Jared would have just gone to Raul and said, hey, let's get rid of the brothers, Raul would have been okay with that? Or do you think that this was just like the show editing this to kind of make it seem that way, when in reality, Jared and Kelsey wanted Mitch gone the entire time?
I mean, Jared and Kelsey definitely wanted Mitch gone the entire time. Like, Jared wasn't really going to use the veto on Mitch, but at the same time, like, there was an element of, like, they made Raul make the cut. You know what I mean? They didn't make the cut themselves. They, like, held his hand and made him stab Mitch with the knife. You know what I mean? Once you've already made him do that, you can't be like, all right, you know what? We think maybe what you should do now, because remember, it's still his HOH. They're like, you know, and it already feels to him like, okay, guys, get off my back. You're controlling me a little bit, which they totally are. Then it's like, it's hard to then tell him, like, all right, now you put a little piece of gauze on that stab wound you just created, and now make a fresh one over here. You know what I mean? Like, and do it for us because we told you to. You know, like, Raul, I think, had just had enough at that point too. So, like, even if they floated the idea out there, which they floated, but didn't, like, really seriously go past that, Raul was just like, dude, you already made me sever the ties to my best friend in the house. There's no, like, repairing what you've made me do. And I mean, at that point, he's probably right.
See, I don't know if he's right, because it seemed like that. I mean, again, it seemed like, I mean, after the ceremony, for sure, Raul said, well, you know, now you've made it personal. But I mean, before this, we see him at the beginning of the episode, and he says, oh, you know, it hurts me so much. I love Mitch, all this stuff. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why nominate him? I mean, yes, he's a big threat strategically, but somebody else will get rid of him. Mitch was always looking to work with Raul. He was going to take Raul to Final Two because he knows he can beat Raul. But still, for Raul, that's good. He's going to protect him. So it's just so frustrating. Watch this. And I mean, I hate to relate it to my own season, but I feel like it's similar to this communication amongst the third wheel seemed very Newport-esque. It seemed like they weren't communicating properly, and it just is leading to this mess. I mean, at least not one of them is going home, but somebody who, you know, at least they could have worked with. It looks like he could be going home this week. So for me, it's just super frustrating. And we'll get more into that a little bit on the feeds, and hopefully Paul will be back by that point. Alex, do we think Paul's coming back, or do you think we lost Paul for the whole episode?
I don't know. Maybe we should leave it up to Canada. Canada's vote. Canada's vote. Because that's the kind of vote Canada gets this year. It's not going to actually influence anything, but do you think something that we will decide will happen? So it would be par for the course for this season.
Oh, man, I was so excited, too. It's just like, getting robbed of Paul. It's like the worst thing. I'm getting some text, so maybe there is hope, but we will see. Okay, let's talk about something else as well on this episode. Jared's reaction to this whole thing. I mean, he says that Mitch is a stale muffin. He's super upset. Without getting too spoilerish, Alex, how has the reaction been to this speech?
Predictable. I mean, you know, Jared and Kelsey are, you know, for lack of a better term, recruits with very high emotional drive and a power complex right now. So it's predictable. You know, Jared is like going full Abby Maria on people. Like it is crazy. It's like, you know, I'm allowed to talk with people, but only I may talk. Like if anyone else has these kinds of conversations, like it's just blasphemous to Jared and Kelsey right now. And obviously, like next week, if someone else is in power, like you'll just see a totally different tune. But, you know, that's what happens when people just don't understand the game. Like they can only see what's right in front of them, and they can't think about like, I wonder how this might affect me tomorrow or next week or 3 weeks from now, or like when the jury has to decide who to vote for and I was a total bitch. Like, oh, well.
No, but yeah, I mean, it just seems like there isn't like these guys aren't thinking that way. And again, I mean, it makes it interesting, but I don't know, just frustrating to see. I mean, and I tweeted this tonight, Alex, if Mitch goes home here, before his battle with Tim, it would be like if Luke Skywalker got killed by an Ewok before facing off with Darth Vader. You know, it's just like we're waiting for this big battle, and you know we're getting robbed of it. And as fans of the show, it just sucks. And like you'd think that eventually the producers would get it, that you know this is back-to-back years. If we lose Mitch here, I mean, we lost Bruno last year, same thing. I mean, do people really want to see these people go home through twists? I don't think so, Alex. What do you think, just based on what you've seen from social media?
Yeah, no, but I also think that there's a distinction to be made, because it's hard to draw the line on saying like, well, this is bad if it's Mitch who goes home, because then it becomes a bit results oriented. And then people are able to make the argument that like, well, you'd like it if blank. And like, for me, it's the nature of the twist. Like nobody, no matter how good they're playing, should have to deal with this level of adversity. What Mitch has to overcome right now, people are like, well, if he's a good player, he could get out of it. No, good players don't get out of this. Dan, Dr. Will get out of this. That's it, dude. That's the short list of people who could pull themselves out of this spot, you know. So good players will not be able to do this. The adversity stacked against him is monstrous. So to me, it's really more about like, if you want twists, great. But let's not make them so powerful that they just alter the course of weeks of actual work that these people have done. I mean, they gave up months of their own time to play a game that is now just like, all right, let's shake the snow globe now and see what happens. Like, I just don't, you know, I get that people are going to say that's the game and it's not fair, but to me, there's a way to do it without just going above and beyond. I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
All right, and I believe we have Paul Jackson back on the line. Paul, are you there?
Second laptop. Let's see how this one does.
All right, so here we go. So Paul is on. Paul has tried his desktop, his laptop, his phone, and now another laptop. This guy, Paul, you are so dedicated to this podcast, my friend. I appreciate it.
I'm telling you, you got to do what you got to do. Let's get on to business. Did you guys see that speech tonight? What was that?
Yeah. So Paul, walk me through that. Paul, what do you think? What did you think? What is this going to work for Mitch?
You know what? It's do or die for him, right? He knows that his back's up against the wall. He has no choice but at this point to come at the threats in the house. He knows that he's got to play this card. Otherwise, he's gone. He's lost the trust on both sides of the house. He's trying to make amends. So he's trying to get a side to take him back. And unfortunately, I think he's kind of burned his bridges. I don't think he's going to get out of this one. I think that he played the house way too hard, playing both sides, and he got caught. That's the bottom line. And now, what is he trying to do? Now he's trying to threaten people by trying to think that that's the way he's going to get back into it. This is not a Godfrey move. You understand? He doesn't have what Godfrey had. I mean, he didn't even do the jump the way Godfrey did it. I mean, that was insane. That kind of height, that's NBA height. That's crazy. What was he doing? I don't know. That's desperation to me. And the little tear-jerking that he did at the end there, I don't know. That was just creepy. But let me tell you something, Mitch. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. If Dallas did it, though, oh, that would have been epic. That's like the softer version of Andrew Gordon. Do you know what I mean? That was just, you know, that's the way I see it. But I don't think, nah, Mitch, I don't think that's going to work. But what plan does he have? Is this like a Dr. Will thing? Because it's not, you know. I don't think that he can pull that off. So don't get me started. But, you know, I love the fact that he tried, though. You got to give him that.
Right? He tried.
Though, you know, he had the whole emotional thing. This is where we need Kyle. Because Kyle's got those 3 words that he just throws in. throws you for a loop, and you go, what the did you just say? But seriously, a little too late to get himself back in there. And you know what? He should have chosen a side a long time ago, but he played both sides, and he basically got caught. So it's a done deal, Mitch. I'm sorry. I'll see you on your way out doing the sideshow with Peter when he rips you apart. Yeah, you know.
Oh, we don't want Mitch to get ripped bad. You know, Paul, in defense of, Mitch, I think did play a really good game though, right, Paul? I mean, if
thus far.
Yeah, but yes, this far. But Paul, let's think. If this twist didn't happen, Mitch would probably still be in one of the best positions in the house. No.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you expect from the Big Brother game, no? I mean, if you think that the game's going to go according to your typical rules, then you're in the wrong game. I mean, Lolita could be crying the same little, overspilled milk, why did it happen to me? Why did it happen to me? But the reality is, it's the Big Brother game. So expect the unexpected, and I think these are the things you got to roll with when it happens. You don't all of a sudden just lose your shit when all of a sudden your back's up against the wall, and now you go threatening people. Because I think he ultimately just put the nail in the coffin when he looked at him and he said, look, either you take me or you don't, and if you don't, I'm coming after you. I don't know whether you got to do it like that in order to prove a point. I think he should have been a little more subtle, because there might have been a chance, but now he's just severed it.
So you think because I think where Mitch is coming from, Paul, is he's thinking, okay, here's this big threat. The third wheel, it's Raul, Kelsey, and Jared. They're super tight. They're going to work together. If I say to the rest of the house that I'm coming after them, the rest of the house might say, hey, you know what? You're right. Why don't we all team up with Mitch? Let's go against what they want. Let's get rid of Joel, and let's all fight against this power trio next week. Paul, don't you think it would be a smart move for the other house guests not in the third wheel alliance to team up with Mitch and to go after them?
Okay, you see, here's something that really, really tickles my fancy. And I hate using that word because it sounds too just prim and proper. But I don't understand something. Why is it that when you're looking at the threats, we had the first 5, they were a threat. When you're looking at the couples, they're a threat. When you're looking at the brothers, they are a threat. Don't tell me that they're not a threat. You've got 2 people working the house on both sides, using 2 brains in order to get people. They are a threat now. Nobody sees it. But all of a sudden, at this point in the game, now you wake up and you realize you smell the roses and it smells like shit. I don't understand something. If it's facing you and you see the threats, I mean, like, I can't even comprehend why Maddie would have made the choice to get rid of Lolita when they had the numbers. And Della's trying to tell her, what the are you doing? And yet, because she had a personal, her feelings was hurt when Lolita said, stop acting like a freaking whiny little, and all of a sudden, I'm going to go after her. I mean, I don't understand why people do that. And now when Mitch realizes, oh, crap, they're a threat. Now you want to go after them? Buddy, with her coming back in the house, that was the biggest thing that didn't go your way. Because now they're much bigger than they were, and they're stronger now, because she knows what happened because she was watching you while you guys were in the house. Like, I don't even get me started, Jordan. It's like I'm back in that house again.
Paul, yeah, we gotta get Paul back in the BB house. Yeah. I mean, that should be the wild card. Paul next season. Let me
put my pacer back on.
Or at least for like 24 hours with like a hat and a coach's whistle, and just be able to just go in there and just blow the whistle, foul, and just call them on bad game. Like,
Paul.
I think that's why they're afraid to bring me on the sideshow, because I just tell it the way that it is.
But they brought Ginger Ninja, so I feel like, Paul, you got a chance, right?
Oh my gosh, come on now. They brought a Nick back on the show. Give me a break.
Wait, you're not friends with Ginger Ninja, Paul? I feel like you guys would be a perfect team.
Listen, Ginger Ninja is a good guy. Don't get me wrong. Ginger, I mean, I wouldn't be calling myself a Ginger Ninja, but that's beside the point. But listen, man, this game is let me tell you something. Big Brother, they got the characters right on this game, because every one of them is so unique and so different, and I can't even understand why the females, for some reason, cannot stand together. I don't get it. 5 in a row.
Right?
It tells you something. I don't know what's up
and
with that.
Paul, what? Yeah, what? Because do you think there are any similarities? Because on your season, very similar, right? The girls just like were catty and they went against each other, and they eventually, you know, some of them worked together. But for the first little while, it was just so catty. And this season, it seems to be very similar. So why do you think that it is that way, Paul?
You know what it is? The thing is that unfortunately, what happens is that, you know. And I don't want to sound sexist, but women are emotional thinkers, right? Sometimes the emotions takes over when they got to make a decision, and that emotion causes them sometimes to weigh in on how they feel about something versus whether it's good for their game or not. Maddie made an emotional move to get rid of Lolita. It wasn't a strategic move. You're talking to somebody that knows how not to play the game. So believe me when I tell you this. When you start to act on emotions, that's when you go wrong. See, guys, you see, we'll slap you in the face and we'll play pool with you in the next 2 minutes. You know what I mean? We just get on the open.
Paul, guys act on their emotions a lot in the BB house. I mean, come on, Paul. They do, Paul.
Dude, think about what you've seen so far, right? It's very straight up and straightforward. Dallas is right in your face. Jared is right in your face. Raul is right in your face. Ramsey, okay, he cries a little bit too much. You got to give him that. You know, I mean, like, I cried, but this guy cries, okay? But the fact remains is that the guys are straight up. They just come at you. But look at the cattiness between the females in that house. Look at the cattiness between Maddie. Look at Lolita. Look even Casandra. I mean, she's like a little snake behind Tim, trying to tell him what to do. And every time you don't even see her like fully in the camera. She's kind of like this. Tim, what are you doing? It's just creepy. I mean, creepy. So I just think the females need to somehow work strategically what's best for their game and not act on this emotion, this cattiness all the time. Listen, I got to sleep in my own bed tonight with my wife, so I better stop on this tip. But the reality is these ladies got to band together because that's what happens. The guys, you know what? They get over it. They straight up. Even Mitch, the way he came across tonight was straight up in your face. This is the way it is. I guarantee you, if that was one of the ladies up there, nothing. And out of all of the speeches that went up there, besides the one that Godfrey gave, because I got to give him props for that one, I should have done that with Andrew when I got up there. I didn't. I was like I don't know what the hell I did.
Paul, you called him racist. That worked.
Oh, yes, I did. And you know what? When they put two sisters up there, I was getting real suspicious about this season. Let me tell you that. You don't go put two sisters up there and not make the brother think, wait, what's going on around here? That's okay. I was good with that, you know. I was good with that. Listen, in all honesty, I think that the women need to step up their game. And you don't have to be so catty about it. Just strengthen numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because that's exactly what's happening. And for some reason, they just don't hold the trust. I think the guys are just very dominant in there, and they control things. I mean, that's what happened in my season. Andrew and Kenny and some of the guys had some real strong voices. And for some reason, the ladies were just afraid to move on that, you know?
Paul, I want to ask you something. So you said you didn't like the move by Mitch tonight, but wasn't he was trying to be the bad guy? Isn't that something that can work on Big Brother? Because I know you tried that, right, Paul?
I tried that. And look how far that got me. No, wait a minute, Jordan. I tried the good guy first. I tried the happy dad, crying, love my kids, rub my back, tell me everything's going to be okay kind of person. And then when that didn't work, I said, oh, damn, what am I going to, let's be the bad guy. Well, that didn't work either, okay? Even though, let me tell you something, even though I won the first head of household and I gave everybody else the choice to vote somebody out, it still came back to me. I still think Ika to this day holds me accountable for the fact that she was out of that game. I mean, it's like she's still in the game when I see her because I get that cut all the time. You know, so all that I'm saying is, look, this is the reality, okay? The reality is that Mitch, you know what? I like the way he started this game. He started it subtly. He was his own person, and he subtly went for the two different sides. He didn't really make it so blatantly obvious. Obviously, he played a little too hard, a little too fast, and he's back out against the wall, and now he's coming out with this strategy. I don't know where it's going to take him, but, man, if he can pull it out of a hat like Dan did, going in and planning his own funeral, I mean, if he can pull that off, kudos to him, because right now it doesn't look too good. That's the honest truth.
No, you're right, Paul. It doesn't really look too good, to be honest. And I think that I kind of want to get into the live feed portion of the show. So if you don't want to know any spoilers going into tomorrow, I'm sorry. It's spoiler time. So Alex, let's just jump right into this because there really isn't too many spoilers going on today. We already know who won the veto. We know who's on the block. So let's just jump into it right now, Alex. What's it looking like? Is Mitch gonna go home tomorrow?
Probably, but he's working his magic at this moment, it seems like. He's trying to work something. So, if nothing else, if he does go home tomorrow, I think, if people remember Mitch as playing too hard, too fast, whatever his legacy is, I think at least you have to respect him for fighting to the last hour, which we don't see enough people do. I think Paul's right about that for sure.
So, yeah, I saw someone in the chat say that Mitch did bring up the fact that he is a very successful and well-known YouTuber with his channel ASAP Science. Did you see that as well, Alex?
Yeah, that just happened while we were talking, actually. He implemented what I call strategy shine bright like a Frankie. And to what seems to be limited success at this point. I don't know about the method of execution. Like he's opening up to Raul. We'll see how that works though, because you open up to Raul, and within 30 minutes, Raul's told everybody in the house. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. More interesting, I think, is that Casandra really seems to be wavering a little bit, and Casandra seemed like a lock to keep Joel. So
yeah,
Mitch can win the Casandra vote. That'll change a lot.
Why is Casandra wavering with Joel?
Mitch made some really good points to her tonight, especially. I mean, he really sat down with her. Mitch really benefited by – we saw that conversation on the show between Jared and Ramsey where they speculated about putting the brothers up. Well, that information got back to Maddie, and Maddie just, I believe today, divulged it to Mitch, or last night, I believe. And anyways, Mitch today kind of confronted Kelsey and the brothers with that information. And really, I mean, Kelsey was really kind of sweating and waffling in that moment. She didn't handle confrontation very well. The brothers, Phil kind of rushed to her defense, even though he was being presented with information he didn't know, which was hard to watch because he's actively his naivety is actively playing a part in hurting his own game. But at the same time, later it did kind of lead to a situation where Mitch was able to talk to Casandra and kind of make her realize that, yeah, you're not the fourth in this third wheel group. They were leaving their options totally open. They're interested in maybe working with you if it works out, or the brothers as a fourth. They've talked to Maddie. They've talked to Joel, and Joel will be easy to pull in once I'm gone. So he's made some good points. Casandra does feel like a move will have to be made in the next couple of weeks. She's not just floating through this game. She's pretty astute. For all her other faults of, being explosive or whatever you want to, give her. But, if she feels like this is the week to pull the trigger, then she's going to feel like she has to make a move now, and she might be able to pull Tim along with her.
Okay, interesting stuff here. Paul, if you're in the house right now, just based on the circumstances, and you're not, Kelsey, Raul, and Jared, what do you do? Do you vote out Mitch or do you vote out Joel?
I think Joel has a better chance of surviving this game than Mitch does, and I think the reason why is that when Mitch comes after you, you can tell that there's a lot of he's holding on to a lot of anger. When Joel does it, it's almost like Joel's the right person you want to have tell you off, because you can't get upset with Joel. He just has that ability about him, that likeness about him, and that's why I'm telling you, it's going to be hard for people to get rid of Joel, because he has pulled a couple of really good tearjerkers in that place. You know what I mean? He's really shared a lot with the house in that sense, and he's almost become a little vulnerable to people. So even when he stepped up, and remember when he went into the washroom and he went to go tell them that it was his vote, it wasn't Lolita's vote, I mean, even when he did that, they were still trying to convince him that it wasn't him. You know, if anybody else did that, if they came to you and said, "What's your problem? It's my vote, not hers," they'd go, "Oh yeah, that's a begunning for you." But they're all in there going, "We know it wasn't you, Joel. We know it wasn't you." I mean, that's just that is psychology 101. That's amazing. Joel actually went and stood up to them, and they literally told him, "We know it's not you." But you see, Mitch can't do that, and I think that's why he hasn't really built enough of a rapport with the house for them to believe you. And you know, it's interesting because you watch these live feeds, and you know it as well as I do, Jordan, that, you know, perception is only another person's reality. Mm-hmm. What you think you're seeing is not always the case, right? This is Big Brother. So what I see is that Mitch is trying to get people on his side. But after the speech you made tonight, I don't know how many people are actually going to seriously go, "Let's keep this guy." I don't think so. I don't think Joel's made as many enemies as Mitch has tonight, especially with that speech. He's divided the vote so much that I don't think he has enough to keep him in the house.
And yeah, and I think another thing too that I mean, and who knows if they're picking up, and maybe they are. And Alex, I'll ask you this then, as I was going to say that, you know, by doing this huge speech, from Mitch's perspective, if you're another house guest and you see that, you'd probably say to yourself, "Wow, Mitch is really willing to go to any length to survive in this game." What was that kind of the reaction from the house, Alex, or were people more so just upset with Mitch saying he was making things personal?
Obviously,
go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, yeah, like Jared and Kelsey were really spinning their wheels about it. Like, you know, being called a cancer, obviously, like, really didn't sit well with them. They were obviously mad, like, as most people would be. I mean, they know that's gonna be on national television. You know what I mean? So, you know, whether you want to call them emotional or not, and, you know, young, I mean, that's still, like, anyone's gonna get upset about that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they reacted that way, and then I think other people did a little bit react the way you're talking about, where they were like, "Yeah, Mitch is like a never say die type of player." You know what I mean? So there is a little bit of that where it's like you have to recognize on some level, like, even if he's making very good salient points, like, wow, this is somebody who's just never gonna throw in the towel. You know?
Paul, you had something you wanted to say.
I think, you know what? Here's the thing: from somebody who's done a lot of speeches, you know, and a lot of speaking engagements, I think that you can make a powerful statement. I mean, there's one thing that I regret, you know, and I think you learn, you know, high-end sight. Sometimes there are opportune moments that you've got to take advantage of. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just feel like Mitch had the opportunity halfway to that speech to make a really good point, you know, to point out exactly who the threats are in the house and why people need to go after them. I think that when you start to flip over and you make it a little more personal, right? Know what I mean? Where people need to see doctors, and, you know, it just leaves a distaste in people's mouths where they go, "Okay, if you can talk about them that way, then you can obviously talk about me that way too." Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's when it starts to infringe a bit on your character. And so, and that's why I have a bit of a hard time sometimes when I listen to people criticize, you know, individuals. And, you know, even on the sideshow, I've heard some personal attacks sometimes. And that's where it gets a little touchy. You know, like, I understand that strategically you can go after the game, you know, but you don't have to really personalize it to the point of where you're going after somebody's character. Because you have to realize, you know, they are coming out of that house and facing the real world at some time. And you have to take responsibility for that. And I have, because I've been there. I've called people out and said things, and then afterwards I'm like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But in the heat of the moment, Jordan, you know, when you're in that house, you do some crazy shit. And then you realize, oh, snap, I've said it, and guess what? You can't take it back. And I think Mitch must now be realizing, that's why he's working the room so hard, Alex. He realizes that maybe he went a little too far in that, and now he's got to pull people back in.
Paul, a great point, really. You know, not making the personal attacks. I think that's always a good idea in the house, because you're right. I mean, you don't want to give people a reason to come after you. And if you're making, you know, saying, "Oh yeah, this person's a cancer," or "this person's racist," or whatever, it's not going to leave a good taste in their mouths, or really anyone's mouth for that matter. Paul, do you think Mitch should have gone into the kitchen, grabbed some some mustard, and put it in a thing of water, and then just pretended to drink it like it was orange juice, and to pretend and fake that, because he's a have-not, that he's going to put the whole house on slop as a prank. Do you think that would have been a better strategy for Mitch?
Well, you know what? I mean, the one thing that I would have appreciated about the show was a little more humor, and I think Tim makes up for that, because Tim is just such a funny guy, and he's always coming up with these wicked pranks, So, and you know what? It's not so much, and a lot of people would agree with me. I think that it's not so much you winning the game that ultimately makes this such a popular show. I think it's the characters and the memories you leave behind. I mean, to this day, I still have people coming up to me going, "Oh my gosh, that mustard water, that was freaking hilarious." You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you guys built a fort in the backyard, or when you guys were in the bathtub doing your sessions on how not to play the game, people still come up to me now and say, "You guys should be a sideshow of your own. It was freaking hilarious." I mean, those are the moments that people watch for when they watch Big Brother. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people just need to lighten up and not get so personal and so serious sometimes. And I think that's the one thing people have to remember. You know what I mean? This is still a game. You got to have fun, and sometimes it gets a little too serious. And then people forget why they're there, and that's have fun. And listen, man, I knew I wasn't going to win that sliding competition, and so I had some fun with it. You know what I'm saying? I went slip and sliding, boy. Oh gosh, that was, yeah. I mean, listen, I can laugh at myself like everybody else, and I laughed when I watched that over. That was a sad moment for me. A lot of sleepless nights over that one.
Wait, did you actually have sleepless nights, Paul?
Listen, you don't know how traumatizing that is to watch yourself slip and sliding all over the place. It wasn't a pretty sight. I've dropped a lot of pounds since then.
Yeah,
I'm looking damn good.
You're looking good, Paul.
Brother, you ain't seen nothing yet. Watch me this summer. I'm kicking it. And if they're ever thinking about All-Stars, oh shit, I want to do that competition again.
Oh my gosh! Breaking news! Paul is up for All-Stars, ladies.
Come on. I'm waiting. Oh man, I'm so ready. Put Andrew back in the house too, just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. I'll behave myself this time. I will not call him that name. I'll find something else to call him, but not that name, because that was just not nice. I love the guy though, I do.
Okay,
so,
good.
Listen, romances in this house. What's going on with the romances? Maddie's getting a little touchy-feely there with Ramsey, and then, of course, there's the brother. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, Alex, great question, Paul. Alex, what's the update on the Maddie and Ramsey showmance?
So, basically, Maddie's confirmed that she's kissing boys in-house as a strategy. Like, she's playing the Allison Big Brother 4 game.
Ooh.
So like it's mostly game for her, which makes it even funnier when Ramsey's like doing this like, oh shucks, like like kind of goofy lanky guy type of act. But yeah, I mean and I think the deal is like I had said on a previous show I think she has a boyfriend, but I think I think they're like on a break. I think she's single for the purpose of this show, so I wanted to track that.
Oh, she'll be single after this show. I mean, if she was singing before this show, she'll be single after the show, because those hands under those sheets, boy oh boy, let me tell you. I mean, we've been there with Andrew, and that one didn't leave them alone for a long time. and Ramsey's parents are sitting at home, and they like astaghfirullah, they must be just turning in their beds, looking at their son doing all the kind of stuff he's doing, because you can't be praying 7 times a day and then have a little lady's hands wandering under the blankets. I'm telling you, that's gonna leave a lot of prayers. I'm telling you, there's a lot of
Paul, we don't know. I mean, we can't.
I'm telling you.
I don't really know about Ramsey's religious beliefs or anything like that, and we don't need to get into that too
I'm telling you, ask Deli, that's allowed. I don't think that kind of stuff is allowed in the house. At least Deli behaved himself. I don't know what Ramsey's doing, boy. I'll tell you. Woo! Let's leave that one alone.
We'll have to get Adele on one of these shows.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Adele about that one. And then
Oh
you
man.
ask him about that one.
Oh, we
I'm
will
telling you.
indeed.
But now, isn't Maddie also into one of the brothers too? I thought.
Yes. So what happened, Paul, was they were a showmance, but then she went to Phil and said, "Hey, Phil, like, I don't really like your brother. Can you just tell him for me?" And then
That
Phil.
was the most uncomfortable moment I've ever seen in my life. I swear to you, he's also. Jordan, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I saw the guy standing over there. He's looking like a 2-year-old that just pooped his pants, like he's so embarrassed because he doesn't want to get up because you're going to see the poop stain, and he's walking himself like this, like he's traumatized for life, and his brothers look at him going, she doesn't like you, so stay away from her, and all of a sudden you could see him have this look on his face like, oh, damn, I feel like such an idiot right now, and I just got to leave this room, but I can't, and the whole country's looking at me. It was to me, that would have been the part where I find like a secluded place in a forest somewhere in the Amazon, and I just lived there for a couple of years to build up my self-esteem, and then, regain my friendship with the baboons and the apes and the animals, and then come back into society slowly integrating myself, and then starting to again work on the whole female relationship thing. I think that was a very embarrassing. Oh man, damn! And for your brother to tell you too, even though she said no, don't say anything, and he's like, bro, come over here. She doesn't like you. Oh damn, that's just mean. And that's your own brother doing that. That's just mean. That's like Kyle,
Paul, Paul, would you do that to Kyle or Adele?
I wouldn't even think of it. Now they'll do it to me. You see the way Daddy talked to me in that house?
I
told
did.
him before.
He got mad at you.
Oh my gosh! He'd be like, Paul, what are you doing, Paul? Paul, oh my gosh, Paul, please, Paul, don't dance, don't do anything, just act sad and be old, Paul, please, don't. I'd be like, Deli, if you were like meeting me in an alleyway and you talked to me like that, I'd have flattened you out a long time ago. But I love the little guy, we had fun, so I let him just kind of, talk his way through it. But these guys, nah, man, these brothers, what would be interesting to me is if at some point they don't see eye to eye.
Well, yeah, right, because they are the two brothers. I mean, they're one player, Paul, so they have to make, if they win HOH, they have to agree on the nominations. If they, win the power veto, they have to decide whether or not they're going to use it, which that has happened to them already. And if they vote, they got to decide how they want to vote. But it seems like, Alex, for the most part, there hasn't been much disagreement between the two brothers so far in the season, right?
No. The end goal is very clear. Alex. I think they both know why they're there.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there was more early, and then, like, Phil is clearly, like, Phil, by being the older brother, and he's clearly, like, the more dominant individual, like, it seems like there was a period there where he just kind of, like, browbeat Nick into submission, and now Nick doesn't put up a fight anymore, you know what I mean? Phil was like, look, I'm going to make the decisions, you're an idiot, you're playing bad, like, there was a couple speeches there where he just kind of, like, shamed his little brother, and now you don't see Nick having like game-related conversations like you did kind of week one. So yeah, I think that has become like Phil's game. He just has Nick attached to him, like vestigial Nick now.
So my understanding is that they will never be separated, playing their own game at any time in the game.
And no, they do. Yeah. So Alex, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, people were speculating about it, and then, like, Big Brother, apparently, when fees were down, pulled them all in and told them. So, yeah, I mean, it's very public knowledge now that they're going to stay together to the end. So, that's good for them that they were told, For
and
sure.
Because
absolutely.
we had a fake eviction, does that mean that we have a double eviction coming up?
That is a great point, Paul. We don't know. I mean, because right now in the house, Alex, how many do we have in the house? We have 11 in the house, okay. So after this week, we'll be 10. Down to 10, okay. So, 10 people. We are, let's see, so today is April 6th. The finale is 1, 2, 3, my computer is freezing up. Okay, let me do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks from now. And we have to get rid of 8 more people after this week. So to get down, 7 in order to get down. So yeah, there has to be at least one double or one, an instant, maybe a triple. Who knows what they could pull off? I mean,
that's the unexpected you can definitely expect. There will absolutely be no less than one double eviction for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have that at
Or
some point. I think.
multi-eviction if it's not, if it's triple or whatever.
Have the house guests, Alex, been speculating at all about the jury? Because right now we're at a point where, if they have a jury of 9, which is possible, which essentially is what they had last year. They had 10, but then, yours truly got voted out, so really only was 9. Have they been talking about that at all this week?
Yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, they don't know for sure when jury will start. It has come up a little bit to the extent that, like, Mitch has kind of laid it out there at times that, if you vote to keep him, like, he will absolutely vote for you if he is jury, and if you vote against him, if he were to make jury, like, he's not really considering voting for you at the end. So to that extent, like, it's beginning to be used as leverage in the game, but that's about as far as anyone's really thinking about it. I think they're just kind of waiting for the news that they've made that.
Yeah, maybe somebody should tell him that only one person can win the game. Yeah, people make promises all the time, but it's not like they can follow through with it. The game changes every day in that house, every minute, every hour. So what you say now, based on who gets HOH and who gets POV, everything changes. So, that's why you can't really solidify any votes, especially when people are leaving. They're going to say whatever they can to stay in the house. And then, of course, you have to understand that when you're out of the house, as people come in and tell you new things that happen in the house, it changes the game, because that's when the truth gets revealed.
For sure.
So it's really hard to say. So
Paul, so you were hanging out with Vida today, Paul. Any insight from your conversations with Vida?
You know what I think? What a sweetheart. I mean, she was just such a great conversationalist, and obviously a big fan of the show. Obviously disappointed that she left so early. And disappointed that, I guess, Maddie, really gunned for her and kind of backed her in that sense. But overall, the good thing is that she was glad that when she was stuck in that room, she was stuck with Callie, obviously, because they formed some kind of, some kind of calcium, some kind of connection. And, but she actually thought that she would have been the one going back in. She really did. And I think for the most part, a lot of people wanted her to go in because she was a little more feisty. We thought she'd cause a little more controversy. And I thought she would have stirred up the house a little bit more than Kelsey would have. And I like the characters. I like the people that stand out. I like the people that kind of is not afraid to play the game. And she would have been one of them. But those are always the ones that kind of get left behind, And then we get stuck with, the ones that, don't really
Paul, I know. But I'm with you. I think Vida would have been more entertaining. But I think, and also too, with just this result, it's just so disappointing to see Mitch go out, because I'm just such a huge Mitch fan, and to see his game just get blow up as a result of Kelsey coming back, and now the third wheel is just so much more powerful. It's just, I don't know. I feel like if Vida went back in, I think it wouldn't have been as big of an advantage, because the other house guests didn't trust her as much. So I don't think they would have, they might not have taken her word for what it was. And I think she would have just stirred some more things up, so it would have been good.
I think so.
And before we get into the questions, just want to remind you guys that at the end of this podcast, we're going to have Rob Sesternino's exit interview with Vida. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end of this one. Rob talked to Vida, had some good answers for the questions, so definitely make sure you stick around at the end of the audio version of this podcast to check that out. Let's jump in to some of your questions, guys. So if you want to get a question in for Paul, myself, or Alex, you can do so by leaving a comment on the YouTube video below, or you can tweet me. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use the hashtag RHAPpy. This first one, and I had it for a while. Here we go. This one comes from Jordan Chong, at Jordan T. Chong on Twitter. He says, what are the power rankings of people getting screwed over by twists in Big Brother Canada? So, Alex, let's lay this out. So who are the people that have gotten screwed over by twists in Big Brother Canada? We have a Neil in Season 1 from the Chevrolet Power Shift. We have Andrew Gordon in Season 2 from Canada's HOH.
I think you could argue Topaz in Season 1.
Topaz in Season 1. We can say Topaz in Season 1. Not the vote, but when she was the instant eviction, when she spilled.
She's HOH, and she has to do it right away, and everyone is watching her. Yeah,
is watching her. So there's those three. Let's see. Big Brother Canada 3. Bruno for sure from the. I don't know what we want to call that. Brittany's magic powers.
Coup d'etat.
The coup d'etat. And then now this season, Mitch. So of those 5, And Paul, I don't know if you're following, but of those 5, which one is the worst? Who got screwed the worst?
Listen, let me tell you, that's hands down. That's hands down Canada voting you out of the house. That's got to be
For
the
Andrew.
worst.
For Andrew Gordon, he got screwed the worst.
I think so. I think so. I think that he would have gone much further in that house. I think that he was in a very good position with the first 5. I think when he crumbled, they all crumbled. And that really changed the whole game, I think, because after that, as you know, they all kind of followed each other out of the house, right? It was a rippling effect. And the only one left was obviously Sabrina. You know, and so yeah. So I think that was, and that was the only one that I think had the rippling effect that it did, where it literally broke down the first 5 down to only 1 left. It literally did. They sequentially they went all after Andrew, and there's literally just a rippling effect, and they just dissipated. I think that was one of the worst ones by far.
Alex, what do you think? Which one of those? Who got screwed the worst out of those 5 people?
That's a good question. You know, you got screwed by a twist too, sir, Mr. Parhar.
It was a lot of my own doing, but sure, we can say me as well. But
Yeah.
I don't think mine is the worst.
Yeah, I can definitely see the argument for Andrew. I think to me, I might say, I guess Bruno. I mean, that power was just so. It's probably for me. It's either Bruno or this one, just because of the influence, the singular influence that the power had on one individual's game. Like, whereas like Canada's HOH, I guess like you could argue as a move against an alliance, like. These could have gone if it was 2 different people in that sequester room, like if it was Dallas and Kelsey, then like maybe they come back targeting Tim instead of Mitch. You know what I mean? So like it's such a game of Russian roulette, and yeah, I mean you could make the argument in many ways.
All right, here's a question from Real BG Low. He says, who do we as viewers want to win HOH tomorrow for the best possible week of TV? Okay, Paul, who do you want to win HOH tomorrow? What's going to be the most entertaining for the fans?
Wow. You know what? I think it's time that we see what Cassandra's really made of.
Ooh.
I think it's time that we get to see her make some decisions, and I think putting her in that position will really kind of reveal where her head's really at. I think because a lot of people want to know, you know, if she's playing Tim, if Tim's playing her, if she really, you know what I mean? And I think that we kind of know where everybody else stands. I think with Casandra, you know, we don't really know. She's very sly in how she operates in that house. I would almost guesstimate to know what the others would do. With her, it's a little tricky. So, yeah, I'd like to see her win, not because I want her to win. She's not my favorite play in the house. She really isn't. But I'd like to kind of see where the house would go once she gets that power.
Paul, who is your favorite in the house right now?
You know what, I have to say it's Joel. I have to say, you know.
Joel!
Yeah.
That's awesome. We have the same favorite, Paul. This is great.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a likable. Like I said, you know, I was alone on my season when I said if anybody wins the game, I'd want it to be John, because he was just.
Oh no! Did we lose Paul again?
Oh no!
Guy, you know what I mean?
There he is.
There were here.
Paul, you're back.
good
You're
now.
back, Paul.
Yeah,
There we go.
I'm saying that, you know what, I really liked the way John played the game, and he played it smart, and there was no personal attacks whatsoever the way that he played it. And I like that kind of gameplay. You know, it doesn't always work for everyone, and I think that Joel he's playing the game, but in a nice way. You know, he hasn't really personally attacked anybody, and I like that kind of play. So Joel's he's the guy that I'd like to see kind of win it. At this point, I'd like to see him get there, yeah.
Okay. Alex, let's go back to the HOH question for you. Who, for the fans, who should the fans be rooting for tomorrow in terms of who is going to stir things up the most if they win HOH this week?
Well, if he stays, it's Mitch, because you would see everyone do a 180 in terms of how they're acting right now. The people in charge would be running terrified, and the people like Maddie who were afraid. Well, Maddie's starting to speak out against third wheel, but the people who were like thinking about it but not really saying stuff, like Nikki, now she's like empowered to tell them off and stuff. You would see a very interesting shift, I think, in the house. So that would be fun, but that is precluded on Mitch staying, which looks very unlikely at this point. So in lieu of that, yeah, I think Casandra would be interesting. The brothers obviously having HOH I think would be very interesting, just because, you know, right, it's one thing when like Phil is saying like this is how we're going to vote and they don't themselves have a real stake in it. But, you know, once the decisions once there's less and less people in the house and they have more and more personal connections and that, you know, they really start to differ in their opinions, that's what I think is going to be very interesting to see. And you could see that maybe if they got HOH.
I'm excited to see what happens. Should be good. I'll actually be in an airport tomorrow heading to Reality Rally, so I'm going to miss the episode, which sucks. But I hope the brothers will be great. That would be a fun one to watch. Here's one from John Clark. He says, will they start the jury tomorrow? Hashtag JP for voicemail. That's an inside joke there. Okay. What do we think, Paul? Is the jury going to start tomorrow, or are we going to have a little bit of a smaller jury this year?
Yeah, that's anyone's guess. You know, I like a larger jury. I think it adds more, you know, obviously more voices, more opinions to it. You know, it sucks for the people, I guess, that they have to sit in the house for an extra 2 weeks, an extra week. But overall, yeah, I like more people in the jury than less people. That's just my opinion. Yeah. So
Okay.
if they were to start, I'd like them to start tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, Alex, what do you think? Tomorrow, or do you think it's going to be in a couple weeks from now?
I mean, I agree with Paul in that I prefer the larger jury. I think the more people that are on the jury, the harder it is to just like BS the entire group. You know what I mean? Because people will have, the more people you have, the more different versions of events there are going to be. So, you know, it becomes a lot more difficult for someone to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And if there's one voice that's, you know, speaking out against the majority, that can turn the tides a little bit. So that makes things more interesting. And I also think that modern seasons have been trending bigger. So I think, you know, I think it would definitely be tomorrow. I'd be surprised if it's not.
Guys, calling my shot. I'm going to guarantee, I just got a feeling, tomorrow is going to be the start of the jury. I'm feeling it. I think it's going to be a 9-person jury. They like to go with different numbers. They've never technically done 9, so because last year they had 10. So I think it'll be tomorrow. And hopefully, you know, I feel bad. I don't want Mitch or Joel to be first on the jury, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, here we go. This one is from Jairus Layad. He says, is Phil gullible, or is he playing gullible? Yeah, this one was interesting. I mean, Paul, we saw that prank on the show tonight. Tim and Casandra were saying that they're cousins, and Phil seemed like he was genuinely believing it.
Yeah, oh man. You know what? You can only hide how gullible you are for so long, and then your character just kind of reveals itself. You know, and so we've seen a few characters on the show, including, you know, Nikki. There's just not much happening, and so we don't expect much. And you know, the crazy thing is, they're usually the ones that coast and go right to the end. You know, it's like nobody sees them as a threat when they gullible or when they, you know, wear high heels and walk downstairs backwards. I mean, people just, you know, people don't see that as a threat. They just, you know, they just don't see you as being somebody that they need to worry about. And then you just end up, you know, going right to the end. And so for me, I don't know. I don't think that he's being gullible. I really think that he believed them, and I think that that was a pretty good joke, especially the second time round. You would have thought he got it, but he didn't. So to me, no. Yeah, you can't fake stupid that good.
All right. What do you think, Alex? Do you think that he is faking, or are you with Paul in this one?
No, I know for a fact he's not faking this. Because, and I think everyone knows, if you go back and watch that scene again, there's a line that gives it away. He's talking to them, and obviously, you know, this is the kind of thing that people do when they're bored in the Big Brother house. I think in Big Brother 9, you have Sheila and Natalie pretend they're lesbian lovers because they're just so bored they have to make up a lie, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that happens. It's all this downtime, right? So, no, but he has a line there where he says to Tim, he's like, really? Come on. Quote, you guys know how smart I am. And nobody who's playing gullible will ever say, you guys know how smart I am, because he's pushing the illusion that he's not smart. So that, to me, says it all right there.
Beautiful observation, Alex. I'm with you. You wouldn't see Godfrey Manguiza telling anyone last year, yo, man, like, I'm so smart, Like, no, Godfrey would never do that. Godfrey, I could see playing gullible, and he totally played dumb, when in reality, he was actually a mastermind. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Phil is, unfortunately, just a little bit gullible. And you know what? Whatever. He's a young kid. I mean, it happens.
Listen, Godfrey played a good game sleeping half the time. I mean, he did the sleeping gig pretty good. I should have done the same thing. I should have stepped halfway through, and then woken up halfway through the game and then played. I mean, he was smart.
Well,
I don't know how he did it though, because you're not really, technically supposed to sleep when you're not supposed to sleep.
No, you're not. But he got away with it.
But he got away with it. So it makes me wonder how some people, because I remember trying to sleep with my eyes open. That didn't work too well. But
no, they'd be like, Paul, please wake up. Nap time is over.
Is over. Yep.
Yes.
There you go. So
yeah, and Godfrey got away with it. He's the man.
Yeah,
okay, two more questions, guys, before we wrap things up for this evening. This one's from Matt Ligori. He says, he's at Matt Ligori on Twitter. He says, is Mitch a lock for any potential BBCan All-Star season? What about Vida? I'll change up the question a little bit. Paul, who would you rather see, or who do you think has a higher likelihood of coming back to Big Brother someday? Mitch, if he goes home tomorrow, or Vida?
I think Vida.
You think Vida?
I think Vida. I think controversy goes a long way. I think people remember you for controversy. I think that she was either liked or disliked or whatever it was, but she was more opinionated in the house, and she started very early on in the game being opinionated, and she wasn't afraid of it. But it depends on the direction of where All Stars, where they want to go. If they really want to put the house full of people that are going to clash, then that's where they're going to go. Or they're going to put people that are a bit passive-aggressive, that are not so. I mean, it's really hard to say, right, Jordan?
It is hard. It's hard, for sure.
I've heard people say this to me, too. I've heard people say, okay, so they don't really have a 40-plus yet, right? So it's a definite shoe-in, Paul, because nobody else is at your age range have been in the house yet, or even lasted, or been as funny, or, whatever the deal may be. But we don't know what the demographic is and what they're looking like. They're looking for, And I look at it this way. Right, we wanted the drag queen to go in, and we had somebody going in, making a bit of a statement with a hand job. I mean, really. I mean, that's that's
whoa.
I mean, that's really what we remember about that situation. The drag queen would have made more of a statement going into the house, and I think that he had so much to offer. Scott had so much more to offer to liven up that house. I think we'll need the same thing. She would have brought more to the show than Kelsey would. That's just my opinion. I don't know why it is.
That's fair, Paul. That's fair.
We bring people in that are not adding to the show. I don't know. I don't know why.
Well, I love Alison White, so I don't want to come.
Alison's a sweetie. She's a sweetie. Come on, we know what happened. It's not like everybody hit it. You had a million people watching your hands under the blanket. I mean, come on now. It's not like it didn't happen. That's like somebody telling me I didn't call Andrew a racist. It happened, my friend. And I had more than enough people telling me I did it when I didn't believe it. So there you go.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
Come on now. It happened. It's on the show. It's the reality. We all did things that were stupid we shouldn't have done. But I'm looking at the entertainment factor. I'm looking at people coming in, shaking up the house, and making me want to go back and watch the show instead of, watching the first half and then not being interested because the rest is just boring. So I think that's the key thing here is the entertainment factor. And I say it all with love because I'm having fun with this, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Paul's having a good time. Okay. Alex, who do you think has a better chance of going back, Mitch or Vida?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Paul makes a good point that you just don't know what they're looking for. Obviously, it would have helped either of them if they had stayed in the game longer, I think. But, it's hard to know. I mean, Vida, I agree. She was like a bomb in the house, winning HOH, being on the block, winning HOH, out the door. You know what I mean? Like, she just, went off, and then that was it. And you're just, left in the wake, the hell was that? What just hit me? You know what I mean? And like, and Mitch, it was much more discreet. If they decide they want to like cast a season full of subtle game, like strategic, cerebral kind of players, then, you know, I think Mitch has a better chance. If they're looking for bigger personalities, probably Vida. And, you know, if it's a mix, then, you know, it just depends on which one they feel like they don't have someone else that fits that role better. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
at that point, I think it just comes down to, like, casting archetypes and who you think you really want, and is that person too similar to this person, you know?
Yeah, if they do like a second chance theme or some sort of vote, I think Mitch is 100% a lock. Otherwise, I don't know. Personally, I hope Mitch goes back because I would love to see him play again. I think he did a great job, and he just got screwed over. I think he's the best player on this season. That's my opinion, really. And I mean, and we'll see things that develop, but at this point, I think he's the best player in that house right now. And in terms of Vida, I think 100%. I think that they've got to bring her back because she was so polarizing. I think she was so entertaining. Her story was awesome. I think everybody can get behind it, and you know, there's no real mid ground with Vida. People either love her or they don't. They just don't really like her. There's nothing in the middle. That's the perfect type of person you want to see on Big Brother. I love Vida. I hope she goes back. I would love to see her play again. Okay, here we go, Paul. Okay. I've got two questions here from Mohammed Abdi. They involve. I'll let you decide which one you want to answer, Paul. One is about who you like the most as a player, as a fan, and the other is who you'd like to align with on a future season. I won't like give the full question to you. I'll let you pick. Which one do you want to answer?
No, this is very easy. The person that I like right now would obviously be Joel.
But of all seasons, Paul, who's your favorite to watch as a fan? Who is your favorite person? Is it Joel?
Oh man, no. My favorite to watch on the show?
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? That's a tough one. I'll tell you why.
Other than yourself.
No. You know what? I thought that Gary was just a hoot to watch. He was just so over the top. Watching him cry when he have slop, and I mean, he brought so much life to the house that you just couldn't stop watching him, you know. But I must tell you though, I'm gonna be very honest with you that even though Andrew, he was a bit of a jerk in the house, that's just the reality, and people know that. But the thing is that he was somebody that I could see myself if I was at home wanting to watch him, because he was such a badass, and he was such an asshole, but yet he was a likable character, and he said some funny shit, and even though I was looking at him with cut eye and I was like, fuck, I can't stand you, it was a part of me that said, shit, I wish I could hang out with you on the weekends, because he was just the kind of guy that you want to watch because he was so unpredictable and yet entertaining.
Yeah, and Andrew, for the record, too, I've met Andrew in real life. He's actually a very nice guy. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think the house just messes with people. It really does. Okay, then, Paul, we'll give you this other one then. Here we go. Also from Muhammad Abdi, he says, please answer my question. Huge Poppin Paul fan here. Paul, who would you play with / target if you played on a BBCan All-Star season?
Who would I target? You have to realize that, as an alumni, we do see each other once in a while, and I don't want to create another Big Brother house in somebody's house that I'm going into to have a good time. And you must also know that a lot of us, even though we're out of the house, there's still some people still playing the game. And still hasn't really passed on for the fact that somebody voted them out or gave them the nudge out the door. People are still holding on to those feelings. So I don't really want to say I'll go after anyone per se. But what I will tell you is this. I'm never calling anybody a racist on a show in the Big Brother house again.
Good.
I think that's one lesson I've learned. I don't think I would do that. And the one thing that I've also learned is, Yeah, that sometimes, you don't go after sometimes the biggest threats in the house when you first get in the house. I think you lay low. So, no, I can't give you a straight answer on that. I mean, everybody wants me to say Andrew, but truly and honestly, let me tell you this. If I got back in the house, I'd actually want to align with him because
wow.
I think that we could definitely play a good game together if we put our issues aside. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Paul, what about this? I was thinking, I think if you go back,
Peter!
Peter!
I would go after Peter. I would go after Peter. Let me put that on the record. I'll sign a piece of paper.
Oh my gosh!
I'll sign it with my candy cane right here. Peter Brown versus
Why
Paul
Peter? Why
Johnson.
Peter, Paul? Why
Because
did
he's just mean. He's mean, man. He's mean. Have you seen him go after people on that show? He's mean.
He went after me too, Paul.
Oh, he went after you. So that's it. I've given you a name, Peter Brown versus Paul Jackson. That's it. A Poppin, locking, taking down on the dance floor. Peter, that's it, versus Paul. Let's see who wins.
Oh, right. Okay, well, I want to see that. I want to see a fans versus favorites. Peter has a team and Paul has a team, and you guys go together and you battle it out and see who can win and walk away as the winner.
The Shield. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, it, brother.
Before we wrap things up tonight, at first I just want to say, Paul, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, and it means a lot to finally have you on this show. I was looking forward to this so much.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, Paul, could you please dance for us a little bit? And while you're dancing, can you talk so that you're on the YouTube screen? If not, it's okay. If you're too tired, it's late on the East Coast.
It's 11:55 at night. I was doing a speaking engagement on Saturday, and there was a lot of people there, and this was a very serious engagement. And then halfway through, as I'm talking, one lady gets up and says, "Can you just dance for like 2 minutes?" And I said, "Are you serious?" And she said, "Yes, I just wanted to see you do the robot dance." And I was like, moving around, doing a bit of the wave, and so yeah, I got a chuckle out of it. So listen, I can still do the moves. I can still throw down, and in my age, so it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. And if you're listening to this in the audio archives, definitely come back and check this video out on YouTube because Paul just showed us some of his moves, and it was awesome. Subscribe on YouTube. We're Reality TV RHAPpy. Make sure you never miss a live edition of the RHAPpy Hour. You can get all of the videos of the RHAPpy Hour as well. Okay, before we finally close the book, I just want to give people in the chat room a heads up. We need a hashtag for this episode. There were lots of really funny things that Paul said tonight. So throw some hashtags at me, and I will choose one from there. We'll take a look and we'll get into that. So just setting things up for you moving forward. So I am going to be away at Reality Rally this weekend. So that means this Sunday night's episode will not be hosted by yours truly. Mike Bloom will be filling in to host for me, and he'll be joined by Brent Walgamont and Taryn Armstrong, the greatest pair in the history of live feed correspondence. They'll be duking it out. I'm sure Brent and Taryn will have some good words for each other. Should be some fun times with those two with Mike. So make sure you tune into that edition of the RHAPpy Hour. And also another programming note, next Wednesday I also will not be here. I'll be at the live Survivor Know-It-Alls in New York. So that means no live show. We will have some sort of show for you guys on iTunes. So stay tuned to robhasawebsite.com, and don't forget to subscribe to robhasawebsite.com. Go to robhasawebsite.com/RHAPpy Hour. That's happy hour with an R at the front, and you can subscribe to the podcast, never miss an episode, and get the audio version there. While you're there, don't forget to leave a review as well. For 3 people at the end of the season, I'll be drawing your names out of a hat, and you guys will be winning a Jordan Parhar related prize. So while you're there, leave a rating and review, and make sure you leave your name as well, so that way, if you do win, I know who exactly it was. Okay, so we have a bunch of hashtags here. Okay. So hashtag Ask Deli, that was one that came up, so we could go with that. We have hashtag Ask Deli, hashtag Tickle Paul's Fancy.
I like that one.
That one's good. I like that one. Hashtag Poppin Paul for All Stars. I was thinking just hashtag Bring Paul Back. I think that's what we need. Yeah, I think so. We'll go with that. So, Paul, you're not using really Twitter anymore, are you?
No, not really. I mean, I'll go on it once in a while, but I'm more of a Facebook kind of guy. But if something interesting comes along the way, I might just, because I don't usually respond because I don't get into things. But I'll watch it. I'll see, the tweets go by. So yeah, if I see something interesting, maybe I'll pop my head in there tomorrow and see what's going on.
Okay, so Paul is coming back on Twitter tomorrow. So make sure you tweet Paul. He's at PJacksonBBCan. Alex is at Alex Kidwell. Don't forget to follow him as well. And Alex, appreciate you being so generous with your time as well this evening. So the hashtag, then let's go with this. So hashtag bring Paul back. And also we've got two. So hashtag bring Paul back and hashtag tickle Paul's fancy. How about that? Okay, so we'll go with that. Tweet us those hashtags and let us know what you thought about this edition of the RHAPpy Hour. Stay tuned for if you're listening to the audio of this, stay tuned for Rob Sesternino's exit interview with Vida Adams. It's a really good one, and you're not going to want to miss that. So stay tuned for that. I will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you for joining us. For Paul Jackson and Alex Kidwell, I'm Jordan Parhar. Hashtag tickle Paul's fancy. Hashtag bring Paul back. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.